A little bit of crazy, but a whole lot of right. You're listening to the Average Joe Podcast with Damon Gilbert.
Hello, everyone. How you doing? It's that time of the week, and I thought I'd stop in and, I don't know, give you my opinion on a few things. Maybe we can talk a little bit. So gather up around the kitchen table here, and let's have a chat. What do you say? First of all, before we get started, like and subscribe if you would. I'd appreciate it. It helps me build an audience and gives me a reason to continue to do this kind of stuff. And sometimes it's hard to do that. Sometimes it's hard to stay on point when you don't think anybody's listening. But apparently you are. So there's a few out there. So we'll build a base and go from there. Hopefully I'll start doing this a couple times a week. I'd like to do it every day. I don't know that I can do 45 minutes every day, but I'm certainly going to give it a shot to at least connect with you on a daily basis, because there's things happening all the time. Right now, I want to talk about Trump and Iran. I want to start off with that because this is pretty interesting. They right now. Let's see. Let me go to this. I'm going to add this to the stage. Yeah, here we go. Trump says Iran is negotiating on fumes, believes the regime thought they could outweigh him. And it's about 3 months into Operation Epic Fury. The president says Iran very much wants an agreement. Now, President Donald Trump declared Wednesday that Iran is negotiating on fumes and that the regime thought they could outweigh him when it comes to reaching a deal to end the war. Trump, speaking during a cabinet meeting about 3 months after the launch of Operation Epic Fury, said Iran very much wants to reach an agreement. So far, they haven't gotten there. We're not satisfied with it, but we will be. We will be. Either that or we'll have to just finish the job. Well, here's what I say to that, Mr. President. I don't know how else to put this. They're not going to listen to anything but force. It's that simple. All you're doing is putting off the inevitable. And now you're getting into basically a pissing contest with Congress, because what they're saying is, is this a war or is this a military action? I mean, at some point, limited military action starts looking a lot like war. It's just got better branding. Okay. Now, having said that, if you know anything about history, you know that the Korean conflict was not considered a war, and it lasted. Let me see right quick. I think it was 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. I should have had this up. All right. Korean conflict timeline. Let's see what it was. Let's see. It went from June of 1950 to July of 1953. So it was over 3 years we spent. And they called it a conflict. It was never, I don't believe it was ever voted on. I think the last war that was actually voted on by the United States was World War II, where we declared war on someone. So this is not uncharted territory. It's just not. I mean, I know people would like to think that. Democrats would love that. That's what they say all the time. He has absolutely no right to be doing this. I don't know that that's actually accurate. Let's see if they mention that in this. Okay, the president's also said that Iran's economy is in free fall with surging inflation and money that has no value. That's true. That's absolutely accurate. But at the end of the day, what you want is this radical regime gone. And the only way you're going to get that is if you go all in. You're just going to have to. The president, I'm sure, is being advised to try and walk it back, to negotiate with these people. You can't negotiate with terrorists. That's what these people are. That's what this regime is. It's not the Iranian people per se. It's the Iranian regime, the radical Muslims. And I've said this before, I'll say it again until it becomes like a broken record. I don't know how else you're going to attack this. how you're going to solve this. Even if you come to an agreement, they're not going to abide by it. They're not going to honor it. They're not honorable people. They're just not. These people are ruthless. They're killers, is what they are. And they want you dead. They want you and I dead. So here's Trump saying this, or Rubio. It says, there's an agreement to be made. We want this to be made. I think there's been some progress and some interest, and we'll see over the next few hours and days whether progress can be made. Now, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth said, whether it is through the efforts of your negotiators that they ensure that they never have a nuclear weapon, or we have to go back to the War Department to finish the job that way, we're prepared to do that. And I think that's probably where it's going to end up at. I think Hegseth is 100% correct. I don't think there's any way to solve this without conflict and without. I mean, it's like having a boxing match, and you have a draw. That means that no one was defeated, so they will come back again. That's just how it works. I hate that. I hate that people are going to die. I hate that there's going to be conflict. I hate that. But did you hear the last offer that the Iranians made? They want us to rebuild their country. Are you in favor of that? Do you want your taxes to go up so that we can rebuild a country that's trying to kill us? That makes no sense. No, we're not going to abide by that. We're not going to agree to that. No, absolutely not. So Donald Trump's, I see what he's trying to do. And I hate to sound like a broken record. I keep saying that over and over again. Anyone under 40 doesn't even know what a record, don't even know what I'm talking about. But I mean, I'm repeating myself. But with good cause. The only way to end this is to force them into this position. Believe me, if the tables were turned, they'd be doing the same thing. We wouldn't even be talking about it. Imagine if Iran was in a position to tell the United States what to do. I mean, in an actual position. They think they are, but they're not. Imagine if they were over here and they'd say, you have to do this. You think they would negotiate? No, of course not. These people are radicals, and they need to be stomped on is what they need to be done, what needs to be done with them. So that's my take on that. I don't know that this is ever going to work. I really don't. I would like to think that it would. Believe me, I would love to think that that Donald Trump could get an agreement that they would abide by, but they're not going to. History tells us a completely different story. They'll lie to you. They'll put things off. They thought they could outlast him. What they're trying to do is they're trying to delay this until he's in a position where he's not in power anymore. And then they can deal with I mean, if it's a Democrat, obviously the Democrats will roll over and do whatever they say. They'll probably pay him. That's what the Obama administration did. That's what the Biden administration did. And look where it got us to this point today. So I think Trump's on the right track. I just don't think he's doing it the way I would do it. And I mean, I don't know. I don't have all the inside dope. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe there's more to this. I really don't know. It's quite possible that there's some important things going on behind the scenes that you and I don't know about. I mean, that's very possible. But at the end of the day, the only way you're going to deal with a bully is to push back. And again, destroying their infrastructure, destroying their ability to make war, destroying their ability to do just about anything will push this regime out of power. I really do believe that. The problem is there's so many of them. This isn't like there's a handful of these guys running the show. There's thousands upon thousands of them. So it's going to be interesting. He says he can take care of this. Well, I guess we'll see where that lands us, right? All right. Let's see. Now the next story I wanted to talk about is the White House cage fighting arena for America's 250th birthday. I mean, you gotta love this. I mean, There's reports that construction of an MMA-style cage fighting arena is transforming the White House South Lawn for America's 250th anniversary celebration, tied to Trump's 80th birthday and UFC's involvement. Now, I don't know. This may be the most American story ever. I'm not kidding you. I mean, you got the White House, you got the president, you got the UFC, you got politics, you got spectacle, you got a birthday party, all rolled into one. This has got Trump written all over it. It really does. And I know it's got to irritate the hell out of the Democrats. And they've just got to be going crazy because, you know, it wasn't too long ago where we used to have fireworks and parades. Now, apparently, we need an octagon on the White House lawn. That's where we're at today. Now, is this a good thing? I don't really care. Do you? I mean, honestly, does it matter? It'll be spectacle. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. It's going to be entertainment. And what does America love more than anything? And that is to be entertained. We do love it. We are the equivalent of you've seen the movie Gladiator with Russell Crowe. This will be a modern version of that. And whether or not it's good, it doesn't matter. It will be entertaining. It's bread and circus. That's all it is. But it is our 250th year as a nation. And, that sounds like a long time, doesn't it? It does. But when you look back at history, if you know anything about history, you'll find that 250 years is nothing compared to civilizations before us. I mean, the Ottoman Empire, the Greeks, the Romans. I mean, go down the list. The Chinese, the Ming dynasties. I mean, it just goes on and on. These people, 250 years is a heartbeat to some of these civilizations. We are still, to this day, an experiment. They're not 100% sure this is going to work. The founding fathers thought, I think Ben Franklin said it best. He said, we have a democracy or we have a republic if it lasts. And I think that's true. If it lasts, if we can hang on to it. Can we? I don't know. There are days when I wonder. Because we've got people who are hell-bent on turning this country into a communist state, a socialist state. I mean, look at what's going on in New York City today with the new mayor, Mamdani. I mean, that is socialism at its finest, at its most extreme. That is communism at its extreme. That's what it is. There's no other way to describe this. Don't give me that democratic socialist nonsense. That's just another term for communism. It is, where we all get the same thing. Communism doesn't work. Look at Cuba right now. Cuba's one of the last communist states in the world, and it's failing. Why is it failing? Because communism in the Soviet Union went away, and now you have Russia, who cannot support the communist state in Cuba. They just can't. They can't afford it. So Cuba's going to fail. Trump's right about that. It's going to fail. We're going to be left to pick up the pieces, which I think it's in the Western Hemisphere. I think it's the thing to do. I really do. But that's a totally different story. Don't you think it's the thing to do? You've got 11 million people that live down there who have had very little Western products, Western access. They really don't. Imagine 11 million people turned loose on the United States economy who have the ability to consume. I mean, think about what the Hiltons of the world, the major hotels of the world would do with Cuba. I mean, the country is basically a shoreline. It just is. It's fantastic. The economy would boom down there. We wouldn't have to go. Mexico would have trouble. Cancun would be in trouble. All of the resorts in Mexico and in the Caribbean it would hurt because Cuba is nothing but shoreline. So maybe that'd be the thing to do. But back to the what we were talking about, the cage fighting arena. Imagine being one of the fighters in this. This is epic. This is historical. I think it's a great thing. I mean, you can't play a hockey game there. You can't play a baseball game there. What can you do that's got spectacle? What can you do that has gladiators in it? What can you do? You can have cage matches. You can throw these guys in the octagon and see who the better man is. Hopefully nobody's going to die. That's not the ultimate goal here, but it will be spectacle. And I got to hand it to them. I think it's a great idea. The Democrats are absolutely going to be going crazy over this because it is American. You cannot be an American and not think that this is kind of cool. I mean, I'm no fan of the MMA. I'm not. But this isn't like cockfighting. This isn't throwing two animals into a cage who don't have a choice. These guys want to be there. So let's make it happen. What do you say? And speaking of that, Trump's focusing on the DC renovations during cabinet meeting. He's really excited about. Let's see what's it say here. AP reports that Trump spent a significant portion of a televised cabinet meeting, which, by the way, I just want to point out to the Democrats out there. Trump televises just about every one of his cabinet meetings. He speaks to the press on a daily basis. He argues with them. He's sharp. As a matter of fact, I saw a report today that said he had a physical. They said he's in perfect health. And I know that's got to really piss off the Democrats. I mean, Joe Biden, I read today that Jill thinks that possibly Joe had a stroke during the 2024 debate. Well, no kidding. You think? I think he's had a stroke prior to that. But nonetheless, it doesn't matter. The point is you've got right now a president in office who's completely, well, he's a force to be reckoned with, but he's competent, which we haven't had. He talks to the press more than any president I've ever seen. I don't know if anybody's done any, has come up with a total on that, on how much this guy talks to the press. But my God, it's got to be way over the top. I bet he's talked more to the press in the first 6 months of his presidency than most presidents do in their entire term. I mean, that's just a guess. I don't know that for a fact, but he always engages. I mean, he's not nice. He can be rude, but they deserve it. Most of the press deserves somebody to be rude towards them, as far as I'm concerned. So we're talking about Washington beautification products, including fountains, pools, Lafayette Park, and the reflecting pool, while major issues like Iran, gas prices, and the economy loomed in the background. Now, is this leadership, or is this distraction, or is this just Trump being Trump? I don't know. When the house is on fire, some people grab a hose. Others discuss the landscaping. I think that's a fair point. But I think this guy's capable of doing both. And I think these are valid points. I've been to D.C. That reflecting pool is a disaster. It stinks. It's right in front of the Lincoln Memorial. It's terrible. It was terrible 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And I'm sure it hasn't improved in the least. So now's the time. Same thing with the ballroom that he's wanting to build, that he is currently in the process of building onto the White House. He said it the other day, and I had to agree with him. He said, this isn't for me. This is for the American people. This thing won't even be finished by the time I'm leaving office. But the Democrats are going crazy over it. They can't stand it. They think it's sacrilege. No, it's not. After you saw what happened at that press party they had, attempted assassination, it was because it was at a hotel that you can't secure totally. And yes, is it worth $1 billion for the security in there? I think it is. I think it is, personally. I think $1 billion is a little high, but I think the security should be state of the art. I think people going in there should know beyond a shadow of a doubt that they will not be shot at. I think that's fair. Don't you? Wouldn't you? I mean, doesn't it make sense? I don't particularly care for the Democratic Party. I think most of the people that are in the Democratic Party today are lunatics. Okay. But I don't want to see them dead. And I certainly don't want to see somebody assassinated by some lone gunman, some crazed transsexual. No, I don't want that. What I want is to know that my government is safe. The structure is in place and can't be screwed with. That's what this will allow. And as far as beautification of the DC, who would be against that? Seriously, who would be against that? The reflecting pools, what else? Fountains, Lafayette Park. Why not? Why not renovate those? Why not spruce them up? Make us look better than everybody else. That's what I say. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Here's something I wanted to talk to you about. IBM's $10 billion quantum computing push. IBM is planning a major $10 billion investment over 5 years to build a large-scale, fault-tolerant quantum computer by 2029 with a system called Starling, expected to handle 100 million quantum operations using 200 logical qubits. I'm not even sure what that means. But I do know this. This has something to do with AI. AI is coming for us, folks. It really is. Currently, it's in its infancy. I kind of like using it. It saves me time. It gives me ideas. And I'm sure I'm just scratching the surface on what it's capable of. But this is an infancy. This is a toddler walking around. What they're talking about is getting into it when the toddler gets older, adolescence, being a teenager, growing into adulthood. That's what's going to happen. We are going to be under the thumb of this. Nothing good will come from AI in the long term. Okay. People will say it is. People will claim that it's a wonderful thing. No, it's not. It's going to disrupt your lives like you cannot believe. As a matter of fact, I was watching something the other day, and I saw snippets from the 1980s, just random stuff, street shots, in malls, cars going down the road from the 1980s. And I thought to myself, I'm not trying to be nostalgic here, because if I wanted to be nostalgic, I would go back to the 1950s, which, if you ask me, was probably one of the greatest times to be alive in the United States. My mother and father were alive then, and that was their adolescence. Absolutely the best time. If you look back at that, we as a nation were king of the hill. We were. Everything was possible. And it would have been a great time to be alive. It really would have been. I came along in the 60s, well, late 59, 59, 60. So my adolescence was the late 70s, early 80s. Folks, it was a wonderful time. If you look at those clips, there were no cell phones. Everything looked clean. People were thin. We weren't all morbidly obese. Women took care of themselves. They walked. It goes on and on. The 80s were a great time. They really were. They really were. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, we take somebody from 1980 and we have the ability to bring them forward in time, 60, 70 years. Okay? Would someone from 1980 recognize the United States and our culture right now in 2026? I don't think they would. I think they would be horrified. They would. I mean, from anything from behavior to social media to the way we've treated our cities, the way it's just horrible. And this stuff sneaks up on you slowly. It's incremental. It's nefarious. These things that I'm talking about, you don't notice. They it's kind of like, what is the story of you put a frog in water and you heat the water up. He will stay in the water until he's dead. And you take that same frog and you throw him into boiling water, he'll jump out because it's such a big change. But if you let him stay in there and you do it incrementally until he's dead, he'll stay there. He will until he dies. It's the same thing here. To look back and see the way culture, our country, and our belief system was in the 1980s as opposed to today, there's no comparison. We've devolved, in my opinion. I think we have. Now, quantum computing is one of those things everyone says will change the world, but most people still cannot explain what it does. And that's true. And I'm one of those. Quantum computing, I have no idea what that is. I know it's something massive. I know it's something that it's done with computers that are near absolute zero. It gets very complicated, but they're capable of doing things that would take us thousands of years to do. So they're pushing for this. IBM obviously would be one of the people. I'm surprised Apple's not involved in this, but nonetheless. So is this the next AI style tech race or another overhyped moonshot? That's the key. Just because they say they're going to do this doesn't mean it's going to happen. I don't think they have the capability right now. I think they're going to attempt to do this. They've been attempting to do this for a long time, but now they're putting a lot of money, up front. So we'll see where it goes. Is it going to be, are they going to be able to do this by 2029? It says IBM is planning a major $10 billion investment over 5 years to build a large-scale fault-tolerant quantum computer by 2029. Well, if 5 years from right now is 2031, first of all, so maybe you should use your quantum computer to do the math. You think that'd be a good idea? I don't know who wrote this, but nonetheless. So next thing I'd like to talk about is Temu. Well, Temu was fined $232 million by EU regulators. Rutgers is reporting that EU tech regulators fined Temu $200 million, $232 million for not doing enough to stop the sale of illegal products as part of a broader investigation. Now, look, consumers love bargains, okay? But who is responsible when online marketplaces become flea markets with algorithms? There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. People like cheap shit. They just do. They do. I mean, I don't know how many times I've heard somebody say, where'd you get that? Oh, I got it from Temu for $5. It's an item that should cost $35. They love it. You think you're going to stop this? $232 million by EU regulators? That's like asking Temu for a tip at lunch. That $232 million is nothing to them. This is not going to stop anything. You have got some serious issues here. And the biggest issue is we're all cheapskates and we like a good deal. Why do you think flea markets are such a big deal? Why do you think so? People are looking for a deal. They are. Everybody is. I'm one of them. I enjoy going to a flea market from time to time, as long as the place isn't full of people, because I can't stand that. But nonetheless, I've been to them and there are deals to be made. Probably most of the stuff's hot anyway. But am I going to say anything? If I can pick up an item that may cost me $100 in retail and I can get it for $20 at a flea market and it looks like it's brand new, I'm going to do it. So you're not going to stop anything. Yeah. The internet gave us cheap stuff. Now regulators are asking, how cheap is too cheap when nobody knows what's actually being sold? I don't know. I don't know how you're going to stop it. I don't think it can be done. Let's see. Also, here we go. Celebrity culture. I wanted to talk about that right quick. this is kind of like a palate cleanser after we talk about war and politics and quantum computers and AI. I like talking a little bit about celebrity culture. I'm not a big fan, but some of this stuff I think is hilarious. I guess in People's Magazine, May 28th entertainment roundup includes Travis Kelce addressing a viral courtside beer chugging moment with Taylor Swift. So, who cares? So he's chugging beer. Do we really give a rat's ass? I don't. I think it's kind of nice. Him and his girlfriend, I mean, Taylor Swift, she's a 6 at best. I don't know what the attraction is with her. I don't understand it. I don't get it, but I don't get soccer either. So there you go. Maybe I'm the one that's got the problem. But when you see grown men crying at a Taylor Swift concert, there's something wrong with society. There just is. I don't get it. Is she a good singer? Whatever. I mean, she sings about all of her screw ups. If I did that, I might, I'd have an endless amount of songs to talk about or to offer to the public. If it had to do with my screw ups and my relationship failures, yeah, I could do that. I could do that real easily. Is she a talented entertainer? I don't know. Maybe. But here's the thing: who cares? Who really cares? So they're making it a big deal about him chugging beer at a basketball game. I mean, give me a break. Okay. And we're talking about World Cup halftime plans. Now, folks, I don't know about you, but I'm not a big soccer fan. And I can assure you that unless it's just inadvertent, will not watch a single solitary second of the World Cup. I've never seen anything more boring. I'd rather listen to paint dry than watch a soccer game. I think it's ridiculous. I think the guys are the biggest bunch of softies. I mean, if you take soccer and compare it to hockey, there's no comparison whatsoever. There just isn't. It's faster. It's dangerous. Hockey is a wonderful sport. I don't know why it doesn't get more attention in the United States. It's not boring. It's not boring by a long shot. It isn't. It's dangerous. When you strap on the skates and you go out onto the ice, you're taking a chance there. Okay. Soccer, different story. Guy gets bumped. He falls down and acts like he was shot with a 30-06. Have you seen it? I've seen it. It's ridiculous. It really is. So I will not be watching a single solitary second of that if I can avoid it. I hear that they're having trouble selling tickets because they're too expensive, and apparently they're from what I understand and what I've read, they're bait and switching people on their tickets prices. So is this going to work? I don't know. I think they're having trouble filling some of these stadiums. So is it going to be a success in the United States? They will tell you it is. That I can assure you. They will tell you it was a success, despite what. I mean, look what they've done with the Olympics. Those have been massive failures in the past 10, 12 years. Any town, any city that hosts an Olympic event ends up losing money. There's just people. There's a line that you've come up to on how much you can charge people to see these things. You are eliminating a huge amount of people when you do this, when you make tickets so high. You just do. And FIFA did the same thing. And FIFA, the Federation of International Football Association, whatever the hell that stands for, they're nothing but a bunch of crooks. And that's been proven over and over again. They take the money, they abscond with it. Those people have become billionaires by doing that. They're crooks. They're all crooks. The whole thing's stupid. I have no time for it. So anyway, sometimes, and I go back to what I was talking about with this celebrity thing and Kelce and Taylor Swift. Sometimes America needs 3 minutes of celebrity nonsense just to lower their blood pressure, and I think that's true. We as a society, I know. In your hang on just a second. I know that mainstream media and the local news and the nightly news. We always have a feel good story at the end of our show. You'll see it every time you turn on the news. There's a reason for that. They don't want people leaving being depressed. So why is this event at the White House such a terrible thing? It's not in my book. That's the way I look at it. So anyway, that's all I got today. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for coming to the kitchen table here so we could talk. I'd like to start doing some live streams. Maybe you can listen to that. Maybe we can interact. That would be great. That'll be coming in the near future. If you would, again, like I said, like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Convinces me to continue this. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Peace out.
A little bit of crazy, but a whole lot of right. You're listening to the Average Joe Podcast with Damon Gilbert.